After an intense battle, Will and his friends are treated to a grand dwarven party, courtesy of Donnan and his companions. The dwarves raise their mugs in a toast to Will, acknowledging his bravery and lack of discrimination in fighting for them. The scene is lively, with dwarven girls crowding around Colette. These girls are built tough, like someone who can lift you with one hand and hold a tankard in the other. Meanwhile, Professor Werkner expresses gratitude to the dwarves for taking care of Will.
Ah, you're teasing me! Naughty, naughty!
But in typical humble dwarven fashion, they shrug off the praise, insisting that Will's been doing more for them than they ever did for him. Despite the cheerful atmosphere, Colette is still stewing over how their group got delayed due to Cyan, leading to them losing the event.
How?
Rosti pops up, curious if Cyan will grace them with his presence, but it's clear he couldn't care less about their party. Will, always the diplomat, tries to apologize on Cyan's behalf, but Donnan just laughs it off. After all, they got more than just a victory. Julius is serving dishes in the kitchen as punishment for his arrogance. Dwarves, it seems, prefer actions over words, and Cyan's been humbled, while Julius is stuck serving food to the very people who now see him as a loser. It's a tough spot for someone used to being on top. Outside, Colette shares her concerns with Professor Werkner, wondering if having a party was the right move. She's noticed something off about his expression, but Werkner waves off her worries, saying that stopping the party now would be illogical. He hints, however, that more challenges are coming, especially for Will. Colette suspects that Will be treated differently now, especially after his duel with Julius. As the celebrations fade, reality kicks back in with the all-week practical approaching. A dungeon expedition that will last an entire week. Suddenly, everyone who bullied Will for years is lining up to ask him to join their party. Colette watches in disbelief, horrified by how these students who once mistreated him are now begging for his help. Will, surprisingly, doesn't seem angry. In fact, he's practically glowing with happiness at the sudden attention. Colette quickly steps in, claiming she and Will have plans to go shopping, dispersing the mob.
Wow!
Later in her room, Colette is filled with regret. She thinks she overreacted in front of everyone, causing rumors to spread. Her roommate, Rose, hears about the incident and teases her, suggesting that maybe Colette should embrace it. Colette brushes off the comment, but Rose offers a cheeky suggestion. Perhaps dressing cutely will help smooth things over. The next morning, Colette takes Rose's advice to heart, dressing casually but stylishly for her date with Will. She arrives early, determined to make the most of it. Will, characteristically punctual, shows up a bit later, and the moment he sees her, he compliments her outfit, saying it made his heart race, a comment that turns Colette into a blushing mess. Just when things start to look promising, Rosti shows up uninvited. Will, ever oblivious, thinks it's great that Rosti came along, turning their duo into a trio. Colette is visibly frustrated, especially when Rosti sticks by Will's side throughout their shopping trip. As the day progresses, Colette starts to notice something odd about Rosti's behavior. He's constantly close to Will, holding his hand and acting, well, very affectionate. She even wonders if Rosti might actually be a girl. Will tries to clear things up by explaining that Rosti is definitely a guy, but Colette can't shake her suspicions. Their shopping spree takes a turn when Lihana, the Academy's top student, approaches Will with a serious proposition. She invites him to join an elite team for the upcoming all-student practical. This is no ordinary offer. It includes top-tier students like Cyan, Julius, and Wignall. Despite some hesitation, Will agrees, knowing that this could be the key to achieving his dreams. Colette and Rosti are left behind, watching as Will prepares for this new chapter. The day of the all-student practical arrives, and the excitement in the air is palpable. Students are ready to dive into the dungeons, aiming to rack up as many credits as possible. The Academy's staff, led by Professor Edward, keeps a close eye on the proceedings, knowing full well the dangers that lie ahead. Will's elite team plunges into the dungeon, and it's not long before they encounter their first challenge, a swarm of crimson ants. But before Will can even draw his sword, Lihana steps in, casting a powerful thunder spell that wipes out the entire swarm in an instant. Wignall, clearly impressed, explains that Lihana comes from a long line of knights and is skilled in close-quarters combat, a rare talent for a mage. Will can't help but recall Professor Werkner's lecture on the importance of the search spell in dungeons. Being able to locate enemies is sometimes more critical than attack or defense. As they continue their descent, it becomes clear that Will is lagging behind his more experienced teammates. While he struggles to take down a single monster, Wignall easily wipes out an entire group. Julius, ever the antagonist, takes this opportunity to mock Will, implying that he's dragging the team down. Colette watches from a distance, frustrated but unable to intervene. Will, on the other hand, remains stoic, knowing that he has yet to prove himself. Despite the tension, Lihana remains confident in Will's potential, believing that his time to shine will come when they face more formidable foes. However, the team's confidence is shaken when they reach the 10th floor, only to find the bodies of monsters scattered everywhere. It's clear that another party has already passed through, but the brutality of the scene leaves them uneasy. Things take a dark turn when they reach the floorkeeper's chamber. Instead of a fierce battle, they find the creature already dead, hanging from the ceiling. The eerie silence that follows puts everyone on edge. Before they can react, a massive monster attacks, sending the team into chaos. Wignall is severely injured, and the floor beneath them gives way, sending both Will and Wignall plummeting to the 11th floor, an area outside the Academy's jurisdiction. Separated from the rest of the group, Will assesses their dire situation. Wignall is unconscious and badly injured, and they have limited supplies to survive. The 11th floor is notorious for its powerful monsters, and it's clear that getting back to the 10th floor won't be easy. Will's experience in the dungeon gives him a slight edge, but even he knows that their odds of survival are slim. Wignall, once he regains consciousness, is stunned by the situation. He's used to being the strongest in the room, but now he's reliant on Will for survival. As they move deeper into the 11th floor, they encounter a group of Gurgasa demons, blind monsters that rely on their heightened sense of smell and hearing. Wignall, in a panic, casts a fire illusion spell, but Will quickly informs him that it won't work. Gurgasa demons are immune to such tricks, and they need to think on their feet if they want to survive. Despite the odds, Will's quick thinking and combat skills allow them to fend off the demons. Wignall, though shaken, starts to see Will in a new light. The flunky he once mocked is proving to be a capable leader in the face of danger. Back at the academy, news of the chaos reaches the professors, who scramble to figure out what's happening. Professor Werkner suspects that something, or someone, is orchestrating the attacks. But before he can act, Professor Edward calls off the exam, ordering all students to retreat. The situation in the dungeon is quickly spiraling out of control, and safety is now the top priority. Meanwhile, deep in the 11th floor, Will and Wignall continue to battle their way through hordes of monsters. Wignall struggles to maintain his composure, but Will's calm and strategic approach keeps them alive. As they move forward, Wignall begins to understand that Will's strength isn't just physical, it's his ability to adapt and survive in the harshest of conditions. This realization marks a turning point in their relationship, as Wignall starts to respect the very person he once looked down on. Stay connected, like and subscribe for more fun recaps on One and Only Endless Recaps.